they have no idea. All right, guys, so we're finally live. We're back in the building. We're going to be discussing dating apps. So I have three lovely ladies here with me. They're going to give me some feedback, some of their experiences, and hopefully we can learn something today. Hopefully. I'm going to start off on the upper right-hand side. I know your name, but tell the people, what is your name? How old are you? Where are you from?
I'm Heaven. I am 36. I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Okay, and we're gonna go right underneath me. What's up, girl? I see you down there. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from?
I'm Lala. I'm from Brazil, Rio.
Uh-huh.
What it was again? Name?
Age and where you from? So I think you.
I'm 26.
26. Okay.
26.
Okay, you're from Brazil, Rio, where everybody, well, all the black guys are trying to run off too. We got a little joke for the passport bros. I tell them all the time. If you had game, you wouldn't have to go to Brazil for Brazilians. I need plenty of them right here in Florida. Okay.
Straight up. A lot in Orlando.
Huh?
A lot in Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale too.
Yeah, Brazilian girls are all through the U.S.
Right.
Okay, last lady here at the bottom, right? Name, age, where you're from?
Hey, my name's Trish. I'm from Florida. I grew up in Spain, kind of half and half, and I'm 22 years old.
So hold on, you were born in Florida, but then you grew up in Spain.
Yeah, before I basically could speak, walk, anything, my mom took me to Spain. That's kind of where my roots are, and then, somewhere along the way, we had to move to the U.S. So kind of got a little bit of both.
Yeah, so your mother and father are originally from Spain.
My mom.
Your mom.
She grew up in Spain her whole life, and then so it kind of worked out for me. I got the citizenship, and the culture from Spain a little bit. So my little trip.
That's interesting. I don't know if that was like intentional on your mom's behalf, but that's like extremely similar to my situation. My mother got pregnant here in the U.S. Sorry. Yeah, she got pregnant here. So they had me here, but the intention was to raise me in Jamaica. So yeah, they kind of took advantage of the system and made sure that I was born here. But then shortly after, I went back to Jamaica, and then I didn't come back here until I was 5. So same situation. I learned to walk and talk and shit over there, and then came here. So I get the best of both worlds because I have the citizenship. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have some simple questions here, but I want to get into it. But the questions are just going to be simple in the beginning, right? So what apps have you guys tried? Dating apps?
Just Tinder for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. Tinder.
Just Tinder?
Yeah.
Wow, everybody's just
Tinder and Bumble, and then I tried Facebook dating a little bit.
Okay. Isn't Bumble where the rich guys are? Isn't Bumble where the rich guys are?
No. That's not what I would say.
Oh. Okay.
I have not met one rich guy on a dating app.
No?
No.
The whole point of Bumble was to show you the guy's income.
Was it?
That's what Bumble is about. Bumble's about showing you the income.
I actually originally started on Bumble because they had Bumble BFF, and when I was in the military, I had just went to DC, and I was like, I don't know how to make friends. This is weird. And they had that option, so I did the Bumble BFF, and then kind of migrated over to the dating. It wasn't so great though, so.
Okay. Real quick, shout out to the Tip Network, always showing love. If you guys aren't subscribed to the Tip Network, you gotta go subscribe, man. I really like how well put together their videos are. Very short, concise, to the point, very interesting. They always got a mature perspective. But a little bit of fun and sarcasm, so the entertainment value. So yeah, definitely check out the Tip Network. I got to have those guys on again soon. Okay, so does anybody get any good results from dating apps? Let me just jump out right away and ask: are we gonna have any good stories, any good results?
Honestly, if we're being real with ourselves, I feel like everybody has had some good moments. Everybody has had some bad moments. You know what I mean? In the long term, if we're single, I guess, you know, the end goal wasn't met. But like, you know, there's good and bad in life. You know, it's some good, some bad.
Oh God. Well, listen, there's a lot of girls that I've seen on Tinder when it first came out, and then years go by, and then you go on Tinder, and this girl's either back on Tinder or still on Tinder, and I'm just like, it's been 6 years. 6 years. There's people walking around with 5-year-olds in the time frame that you've been on Tinder. It's safe to say it didn't work for you. But some people are just using it to have a good time. I think it's awesome for traveling. I think Tinder is more effective for someone that's traveling and trying to meet people in these different places. All right, so let me ask you another question. Since we all established that we have at one point in time used Tinder, and you said the overall experience is kind of 50-50?
I'd say anticlimactic.
I would say definitely more bad than good, but you know, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm always trying to correlate it to what the guys are experiencing, right? Because it's very different. So it sounds to me that women they're not satisfied with these dating apps, like, I guess like you said, in the long term. Like where it went, basically. And where the guys seem to have issue is it never launching, if that makes any sense. Like the guy's biggest complaint about the dating apps is a failure to launch. Like they didn't match, they didn't get the date, they didn't go out. You see what I mean? And the women, it's like, oh, I went out on several dates and none of them went anywhere.
Yeah, no. I mean, all sorts of different experience. I can only speak on my personal experience. I feel like, you know, one of the main things that dating apps has done is it made shit a lot easier. And I feel like, you know, if it's easy, it's not worth it. And if it's worth it, it's not going to be easy. And this instant gratification kind of world that we live in, people are just out to use each other. I mean, from the man's perspective, you're just down to get, you know, some pussy. You know, it was what it feels like from a woman's perspective. It's just, you know, you just want to get some pussy. And then, you know, if it develops into more, then sure. But that's really the main objective of a lot of dudes. And I'm not saying all, but a lot of dudes. And for women, I mean, there's a lot of women that I've encountered in my life where it's using a man as long as he's useful for something, you know, whether it be financial or like, you know, whatever the case may be. Men are loved under the condition that he's useful for something. And I think that's unfair. And that's something that needs to be talked about. Because, you know, we're just using each other at the end of the day. We need to be a little bit more compassionate and be like, all right, what really are we trying to get out of this? Like, be more real with ourselves. Like, you know, what's the point of wasting each other's time if we're just going to use each other and be selfish about it?
I think all of those things kind of boil down to a lack of like authenticity from me anyways, the men. It's a lack of vulnerability and a lack of authenticity. And then it turns into like a fast food menu of sex. And I can tell from my interactions that I had, it went right to sexualizing, or it wasn't a let's get to know you. What are you interested in? Like, let's see if things align. It went right to like, let's date, let's go somewhere. Can you come over? Wanna like, wait, hold on. You don't even know my like middle name. You don't even know anything about me, and you're ready to throw me in bed, or completely sending unsolicited pictures. You're talking to a stranger that you have never met, and I think a lot of guys, for me, come off maybe forceful, which for me is like a complete turnoff. I don't even want to go meet up with you. Yes. I don't want to. It makes me feel unsafe that I won't even take a chance.
It's a give. Like I see both perspectives. Like there's a woman that will go on a date with a dude fully knowing that like you don't want anything like, you know, more with a dude other than just to go on a date. You know what I mean? I don't think that's, right either. And then the same thing, from the man's perspective, like, I'm taking this woman on a date and I expect something at the end of it. So it's kind of like I'm going back to just using each other. Like, we need to just like get real with ourselves and be like, okay, I'm on a dating app. Like, what kind of connection am I really searching for? And closed mouths don't get fed. Be clear. Be clear about what you need and what you want, and know what you want. Because a lot of people, they can't keep it real with other people because they can't keep it real with themselves. They don't know how to. They don't. You can only meet people as deeply as you meet yourself. So, yeah.
That
Well,
vulnerability
yeah, I
with
mean,
themselves and authenticity.
Yeah.
I think there's a ton of factors involved in that. But one thing I think cuts through all the bullshit that Trisha already mentioned is the ability to communicate. I think it's not the lack of communication, I don't think necessarily is the main cause. I think it's the solution in a lot of cases. So, I mean, even if you look at children are going to do kind of what they see being done by other kids. A child's entitlement or what they anticipate is largely based on what they see other kids doing, right? Because the question is, why should it be any different for me, or why are the rules different for me, or whatever the case may be. So we do have that groupthink expectation. So when you look around,
like that, because I want to get a little more background. I'm not sure I'm on the same page.
Right. Well, okay. For example, you could say, "Oh, well, like these guys aren't trying to get to know me. They don't want to have a relationship. They don't want to take things slow." But when guys look around, they're bombarded with content of women saying that's what their mindset is. Right. You have women saying that they don't want a relationship. You have women saying they don't want to get married. They don't want to have a boyfriend. They don't want to have kids.
I
they don't want to have all
specifically
these
have on mine that I'm celibate.
No.
People
Hold
don't
on.
even read the bios when it comes to things like that.
Okay. I'm gonna get to that. So, and that's part of it. That's part of it because we are acting on generalities. Unfortunately, the way the human mind works, we work on the majority, and majority of people aren't even interested in the bio because that's not the driving force to begin with. So when they see all these women out here hanging out, partying, constantly having casual sex, constantly seeing another guy every, whenever they feel like going out, that's the message that guys are getting, right? So there is that, because a lot of women complain about, oh, how dare you want to Netflix and chill, or you invite me over the first date. It's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but you do got to understand that he's dealing with what he experiences usually. And a lot of times that is where a lot of the women's heads is at, right? So
I guess women to just set the bar, and then men can, step up to it or not. It's about having.
Well, I'm gonna get there too, because I don't believe that women set the bar. So matter of fact, let me just go ahead and ask you guys now, because that was one of my questions. Who do you think sets the terms? Who do you think sets the goalposts, sets the rules for engagement as far as dating apps are concerned?
I think both people, because you can't force a relationship one way. But I think at the end of the day, like, the women has more control, and I want to say pussy power because that's what I'm thinking. But like,
yeah, but that's on an individual basis, though. I'm not talking about like individual between one guy and one girl on a particular date. I'm talking about in general, the whole concept of the dating app, how that culture is perpetrated. Who do you think is like setting the tone and the pace?
I would say probably men. I would say.
I guess I think it depends on which side of the app you're standing on.
But it's because of masculine energy itself. You know what I mean? Masculine energy is dominant. Like, you set the tone or whatever. But like as a woman, you kind of have.
It doesn't mean all men are masculine.
Masculine dominated world and be like, all right, if that's how the world operates, I have to speak up for myself in a way that like, it should be, expected that like men, court women, take them out on dates and like, put in effort. And it's like, we're not using each other. We're just talking to one person at a time type shit. Like, but it's not that way. So you do.
All right. Let's try this. All right. Hopefully I give everybody an epiphany moment. All right. I'm going to try to make it as simple to understand. And in this way, I think everybody's going to be forced to have to agree. Just think of it in terms of running in a direction, right? Who's running, who's chasing, who's being chased, and in what order are these people running? So when you look at what is wanted, what do the men want? Men want beautiful women. They want beautiful, sexy, attractive women because we're visually and sexually driven. Mainly, that's men. But here goes the thing with the men. All men aren't created equal, and all men
I have a
aren't
question
desirable.
to clarify.
Hold,
Can
hold
you
on,
just
hold on, hold
clarify
on.
that? So
Hold
I
on.
want to follow. I want to follow you. So I
All right.
missed. I need.
I got you. I got you. It takes me a long time to
Okay.
explain things. Hold on. Let me get into the depth. So if men are looking for beautiful women, right, and they're pursuing sex, that's what the men are chasing by large, like all of them. I know a lot of women think that men like look for relationships and look for girlfriends and look for wives. I'm telling you right now, that's not how a man's brain works. What he's looking at is the woman's attractive. I want to get to know her. I want to sleep with her. If everything else checks out, that's when he starts thinking, you know what? I like this. I want to be with this particular woman. I want to build with this woman. Guys do not go into it with that mindset. And the guys that do, they're going into it out of scarcity. They're going into it because I get no girl. So I just want a girl to be my girlfriend because I have access to no girls.
Yeah.
And as we know, those aren't the guys that women want. Now, so we've established that the men are chasing the beautiful women. We got that far. So it sounds like the women are leading. I'm going to tell you why the women aren't leading and are not setting the tone. Because what are the women looking for? By and large, women are not looking for majority. They're looking for the exception. They're looking for the guys that are at the top, the best. They're looking for the most attractive, the tallest, the highest earners, most leadership, most masculine, most and more is what women are looking for, the best, okay? So what are those guys doing? Those guys are in front because they're what the women want. So they're the ones that are leading. They're the ones running because the women are trying to lock those guys down. They're trying to secure that type of guy, have a relationship and stability with him. So he's the moving target. How do I get this particular guy to commit? This quality guy. That's the guy that's setting the tone. The beautiful women are following that. And then all the other guys who don't make the cut are following the women. That's how our society works in so many facets if you really pay attention to it, right? Because the women, they behave in a way that they're chasing luxury is what the women are chasing. Luxury, comfort, stability. That's why they want to be on boats and private jets. Right. The women are chasing status and a quality of life. Well, who resides there? The most successful men is who resides there. And then all the other guys are chasing the women. So if you want to know where the most beautiful women are, you got to go where the most money is being spent. Go to Dubai, go on a private jet. That's where you're going to see the most beautiful women. And who are those women there for? They're there for the luxury, the lifestyle, and the men that can provide it. So if those men are interested in whatever scenario, the women subconsciously or consciously are going to adjust themselves to that scenario. And then all the other guys have to try to figure out what's left. They got to pick up the pieces, right? So that's why dating apps are successful, but they're successful for the most attractive men. Those are the people that can set the tone. And if you don't believe me, think it's really easy to prove this. A quality dude can commit at any time. A dude that's earning 300, 400K a year, he's 6'2", handsome guy, no kids. He can commit at any time. He can commit to a 5, he can commit to a 10, he can commit to a chick that's 30, he can commit to a chick that's 20, he can commit to a chick that's 40. It's up to him. He has access to pussy, he has access to sex. So you can't say the sex is not on his terms. Trust me. If he wants to see that girl across the country, he'll just fly her out. She'll be there in 5 hours. So he has access to the sex. Now the commitment is what the women want. He controls that. He can decide at any given time, I'm gonna put a ring on it. Or he can say, you know what? I'm just gonna date casually. I'll just get on Tinder and swipe right. So that's why I feel that it's the guys that are at the top that are actually controlling the entire interaction from top to bottom.
I think as a whole, yes. Individually, personally, I feel like, you know, in my personal experiences, that's all I know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't sit there and study other people's like dating experiences and shit, but like, I communicate and I make myself like, you know, very clear as far as like what I'm looking for. And it's like, you know, it's not in the sense of like, okay, I'm trying to get like, I don't know, like get something from you, like, you know, get some type of like, you know, stability or financial or whatever. Like, you know, the ideal, which is what I kind of wanted to end on, like a positive note, is just like, you're whole as a person. A healthy relationship, in my mind, is you're whole as a person. You don't need anybody to financially provide for you. You don't need a lavish lifestyle. You don't need a man to, do anything for you. But you know what I mean? If a man is financially successful and has that lifestyle, it's just another part of him that, adds to the whole pie or whatever. Or that's at least the way that it should be. But like if two people are whole, think about it, and they give to each other, and it's just kind of a give relationship, that feels like it's not draining at all towards anybody. It's not the guy's not getting tired or anything, because you're just fully fulfilled. You know what I mean? It's a give situation.
Yeah, but see, this is the part that you're missing about that, though. If it were that simple, then women wouldn't be having these complaints, because they would just settle. They would just settle for a guy that agrees with that and is interested in that and offering that. And the reason why they don't is because it's not the quality of guy that they feel that they want or deserve. And that is what I mean by, at the end of the day, you cannot argue with women are chasing the top percent. Now, we can argue, hold on. We can argue all day whether it's because they want him to pay their bills or because they want him to put them on a private, first class flight. That's irrelevant. The point is, you cannot argue that women are interested in the top quality guys. And again, if that were not true, then every woman would be taken already, because she would just simply settle for the guy that wants to be her, whatever you just described, wants to be her whole. And there are plenty of guys. Every woman that has this argument can show me her DMs full of guys telling her that she's beautiful and she's perfect and they would be so lucky to be with her, right? That's a fact, right? Every one of those girls, if they were to put on their Facebook or whatever, I'm single, guys would be messaging them and asking them out. So they have the options. So what you would like us to believe is that all men are trash is what the problem is. That's what it is. All men are trash. That's not what it is.
I think what it's coming down to really is that
no, I think it's just
women are coming to the realization after so many years of these apps being out that these guys don't really actually want commitment, and they get off. No. And I don't, to be honest, I can tell you right now, the top 1% guys are not really on dating apps. I have been flown out. I've actually been married twice, once for 8 years. I really can see it from so many different perspectives. And it really comes down to people and with themselves being okay. And like you said, being secure within yourself, being whole within yourself. But if you are not whole within yourself, people that go on these dating apps are looking for sex because they are missing something within themselves that is just for sex.
If you're not,
no. That's definitely not it.
Fulfill that from somebody else. And you're not going to be able to look and see, how can I fulfill something in this person's life? Like, how can I bring something to this person's life?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, on the app, have you met somebody on the app, a guy that has said that or has came at you in any way like that?
When I changed my bio up, when I realized closed mouths don't get fed, and I was like, okay, like, I'm going to just put out the energy that I want to, attract. Like, I'm loyal as fuck, and I'm putting that in my bio, and I want the same energy. I talk to one person at a time, and that's how it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's just the person that I am, and that's the person I want to attract. And I'm just keeping it real with people. And I feel like people appreciate that because it's so fucking, like, it must be rare or whatever. Because, like, I didn't see anybody else do it, and I was like, all right, fuck it. Let me just try to be as transparent as I can. Because I feel like there's always this game where, in my experience, in my personal experience, where two people meet, right, man or woman, whatever. Woman usually starts liking the dude just because women have like that connection, especially after, sex. Women get physically, like emotionally bonded more than men. And then the man kind of gets maybe scared of commitment. I don't know what it is, and kind of starts to pull away as the woman pulls closer. And then as soon as the woman starts to get tired of that, because women get tired of that and they have other options, the guy, all of a sudden, when he senses the woman pulling away, he pulls forward. And it's just this constant push and pull of bullshit. And I think that's why I was like so tired of that. And I'm like, yo, I need to be straight the fuck up with these people. If they don't want it, cool. Keep it going. Like, I'm not getting offended that you don't want this from me. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. You know what I mean? And if I'm not your cup of tea, then cool. Maybe it has something to do with me, but it still has some, like, it's not my problem at the end of the day.
Well, let me jump in there, because that's where I was going when Heaven is bringing up this men don't want commitment. See, listen, I know it's really easy for women to just like throw out their interpretation of why they're not getting what they want, when that interpretation means the problem is the men. And women are doing this with everything. They do this with everything. They do this with children. They do it with marriage. They do it with commitment. It's always something that we're going to shame the men about. If men don't want to get married, it's because they're immature little boys that are afraid of commitment. Oh, it couldn't be the marriage laws, maybe. It couldn't be they saw their uncles, their fathers, their older brothers, their coaches, their teachers get destroyed by divorce. And they
that
know
would take
those
vulnerability to open up, so women can know this.
Hold on, don't cut me off. And
Yes
there's a difference
no?
between vulnerability and just being stupid. Because first of all,
I don't
guys
want
being
it.
vulnerable. Hold on. Guys being vulnerable is not a good encouragement. Women say that like, oh no, trust and open up and allow yourself to be vulnerable. That doesn't benefit a guy. I understand that if you have people that you can trust to that degree, then you can be vulnerable.
Thing. You cannot have a relationship or any relations without trust.
It's difficult for me to make a point if you cut me off. So it's not beneficial for guys to be vulnerable, because we don't get rewarded or aided for the victim narrative. Guys can
clearly you guys aren't getting what you want now either.
My ex-wife took my child. My ex-wife took my house and my car, and I'm a great guy and a wonderful father. She took everything from me. I'm the victim. Show me sympathy. It doesn't work like that for guys, unfortunately. A woman can just say that she's the victim, and we take her word for it. We're not gonna think, well, maybe you chose the wrong guy to have a child with. We're not gonna think that. We're not gonna say, well, hey, why did you have a child before you were married? We're not gonna say that. You know, was your father involved in vetting this guy before you got into this relationship? No, we're not gonna ask any of those questions. We're just gonna assume, yes, your baby father's an asshole. He's a terrible guy, and he did this to you. Meanwhile, she chose this guy. She chose to sleep with this guy. She chose to give this guy her time, her energy, and access, right? But hold on, because you interrupt my main point, which is when you let women tell it, it's always somehow the men's fault that they're not getting what they want. I can't find commitment on a dating app, so what that means is that men don't want commitment. We never stopped and thought for a second, well, if that were the case, the next natural question would be, why don't they want commitment? Because you're talking about commitment as if it's valuable. Maybe it's valuable to you. Maybe it benefits you. Okay, well, here's the non-selfish question, which should be the first question. Whether you're doing business or a relationship, you should be asking, what's in it for the other person? So if the commitment's valuable to women, okay,
I'm not asking nobody what's in it. They can ask themselves that. That's not my responsibility.
Hold on, Heaven, give me a second. So the question should be, why are men no longer interested in commitment? That should be the question. Where's the benefit for them?
Maybe they
when you ask women that, they usually can't come up with any valid answers.
Actually, science has already proven that women are happier single. They live longer single, and like men are happier in relationships. There's science and studies behind that.
That's ridiculously nonsense. And even if you want to go to science, science actually shows the opposite. It shows that married men die sooner. That's actually what it shows. It shows that married men die earlier. We were just laughing about this the other day because there's some dude who's like super old, and we were talking about how all the guys that got married in his generation, they all died earlier than their wives.
Okay.
And I don't.
You might want to fact check that. It's fine.
No, I don't feed into this. Hold on,
there's already stuff behind it.
Heaven, hold on. I'm not going to put too much faith into the
if I
science
can't
bullshit.
Even talk. There's no point.
Because a lot, yeah, but you're cutting people off though. There's a lot of
I can't
agenda
even
behind
talk. That's why. Like, what am I here for?
You cut me off originally before I cut you off.
Because
so
the
I'm responding to the
there's
point
more
you
than
made.
one person talking.
I understand that, but we didn't cut you off. You cut me off when I'm responding to you
I haven't
about
had a chance
men not
to
wanting
really
commitment.
speak. That's fine.
Go ahead, Heather. It's your show now. Go ahead.
I was supposed to be here to talk. But
I understand that.
Okay.
I was responding to what you said. Well, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Nothing. I have nothing left to say.
I think
and that's exactly where women are at. You wanted to know what women are seeing. You wanted to know what women's point of view. We didn't come here to ask you men's point of view. If you want to hear a woman's point of view, stop telling us your point of view. We're here to tell
I'm not
you what
giving you
we're
my point of
seeing.
view. Okay, listen.
You're
first of all,
giving us men's point of view
Tone it
and this
down.
and that.
Hold on,
Do you
tone it down.
want
Because now you're getting
to-
disrespectful
or-
and condescending.
No, well,
What I
you're
did was I
cutting me off.
responded to
Do you
your
want, do
view.
you want, let
I
me continue
responded to
talking.
your female point
Let
of
me
view.
continue talking because
see
now
why you're
I'm
divorced now.
responding
Okay,
to
go ahead.
you. No, actually,
Uh-huh.
no.
No, I'm sure it was the guy's
but-
fault. I can imagine. Go ahead.
That's the reason you're single. You
Actually-
cannot carry on a conversation.
Actually, first of all, I never said I was single, but in any event,
No, you.
I was responding to
I'm
you
gonna-
saying that women have discovered. Okay,
That's
anyway.
better. It's better anyway.
Anyway, for the viewers, you see how easily they already get triggered when they're just harboring a bunch of resentment, because that's what it is. She's resentful. That's fine. That's wonderful. She did what she did with her dating life. The point that I'm making for the women that actually want to not have that experience and not be all resentful and pissed off, okay, is that you would have to ask, what is the man getting out of it if you want this man to want what you want or to want to give his commitment? Now, Trish was actually saying something towards that when you were saying that you're fulfilling each other and you're bringing something to the other person.
Yeah.
A lot of women aren't thinking like that or talking like that, but yet they're upset that men aren't handing over their fucking commitment and dedication to this one woman, when the simple question should be, what are you even giving him? Like we keep saying, what do you bring to the table? And most of these women have absolutely nothing to say. They don't even know what lie to tell. That's how you know it's bad, when the women don't even know what lie to tell. They don't even know what to make up or what to pretend like they bring to the fucking table to at least sound, right? Enticing to the guy.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, what as far as that, like authenticity, nothing built off of being fake or trying to mold yourself to be likable is going to be sustainable. Because one, you're not going to experience true love or anything like that because you're not even letting yourself be loved. It's a version that you're portraying. And two, it's just not sustainable, bro. That's fake. You know what I mean? That's going to fall apart. So, yeah, like, I mean, as far as what women bring to the table, like we have to just get in tune with what the fuck feminine energy is, and it's that nurturing, you know, like caring energy. You know what I mean? I feel like that's basically, you know, I'm still kind of learning what the fuck a woman is, but yeah, you know, I feel like that's really what it is. It's just caring in the way. That's why they say cooking and cleaning is so like traditional to like women. I'm not trying to be sexist, but like to be honest, when I go over to somebody's house and I eat a meal, I can't think of a more like loving thing. You know what I mean? I feel the love they put into the food, and I feel that shit. Like, I understand.
Of course. I mean, I don't think there's anything sexist about it. I just think that it comes down to who takes more satisfaction and pride in providing that. Because a lot of guys can cook. I mean, I could cook. In my last relationship, majority of my relationships, I probably do more cooking. But the women, they tend to put more into it as far as joy and pride and more satisfaction out of it. You get what I mean? So maybe that is more of a female task, because the women get more satisfaction out of providing that for their family, if that makes any sense. When you look at the mothers, the grandmothers, when they're having these family get-togethers, that is the most important thing to them. That's like the priority.
You see their eyes
getting
light up?
everybody together. Yeah, it's getting everybody together for the meal or whatever. And the men are just like, all right, I'll be there when I be there. You know what I'm saying? Like we almost get, you know, dragged to these type of things. But also a lot of men take pride in getting up and going out and working hard to provide for their family. So a lot of it is, what do we take pride in providing the other person? Shout out to the Tip Network. There's another super chat here. Grover says, no one person wants to die alone, not men or women. It's ludicrous to think the difference. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely true. And with that being said, is kind of why I was kind of poking holes into her, her assumption as to what men want. And unfortunately, she didn't want to listen, which is sad because there's a lot of women that are grown. They're grown ass women and they don't understand men at all, but yet they think they do with so much conviction. When they talk about what men think and what men want, they talk as if they are 100% accurate. And listening to this shit as a man that does nothing but talk to other men, I'm like, no, sis, that's not what it is. And then they're arguing as if I have some type of skin in the game, as if like, this is some personal thing for me. Listen, I don't give a shit whether women believe me or not. I'm not here to prove my point. I not once said what I think or what I want or what I believe. I'm just the messenger that's telling you what men are saying to other men in confidence. We don't need to lie to each other in the fucking locker room. So if guys are telling each other what it is they want, what it is they don't want, why they're not committing to women, right? I'm just trying to relay the message and say, actually, excuse me, actually, that's not what it is. It's not that men don't want commitment. It's that the women aren't bringing anything of value to the equation for men. And if you want to make a deal, there has to be some type of mutualism. There has to be a mutual benefit. There's no mutual benefit. You can't expect the other person to succumb to your terms.
Yeah.
So, like even in the bios, you were saying that you had a little bit better results with what you chose to put in your bio. I wanted to get into that because that's a great example of how unaware women are as to what type of vibe they're giving men. So I read the profiles in dating apps just to get a better understanding of where these women are fucking up. And when I'm reading it, women start with shit like, I'm a mother of 3 kids, so I don't have time to waste. Okay. Now, for the type of men that you're looking for, you've already failed. He's already swiping to the left. Already. And there's a whole paragraph here, but the first 2 lines, he's already out of there. Oh, because I have kids? Actually, no. Because of your fucking attitude. So when you read these bios, they read like how she talks, with a bunch of animosity, a bunch of negativity, a bunch of lowered expectations and resentment. So what you're saying 2 things with that. Number 1, you made a shitload of mistakes with the guys that you chose to deal with in the past. And number 2, you've learned absolutely nothing. That's what that means.
And it's a big thing in life. I feel like the victim mentality is huge. You know what I mean? Like if we push the blame onto somebody else, we don't have to sit with ourselves and look at where we went wrong with shit. And that's that's a huge part of. I feel like before anybody goes into anything that they really want to grow with somebody, they should spend a lot of time by themselves and really get to know themselves and sit with themselves, analyze their life, and really become whole. Like I was talking about earlier.
Well, they have to be willing to listen. And a lot of these chicks are not willing to listen. When they have man issues, the first person they go to is a woman. And I can never understand that. They go drink wine with a group of women and talk shit about men, and they learn nothing, and they reinforce each other's negative, expectations. That's what they do. They reinforce it. So now what happens is you re-enter the market with a worse mindset than last time. Because every time you have a bad experience, you go talk about it with your female friends, and all they do is tell you that you did nothing wrong. He's such an asshole. He's so toxic. Men are this, men are that. They share all their horror stories, and now that woman goes back out. Right, now that woman goes back out into the dating market with an even worse outlook. You see what I mean? So now she's not even attracting the guy that she wants now because of the type of negative energy that she's putting off. So when she just told me that the valuable dudes aren't on dating apps, bro, I wanted to cut her off so bad because I'm like, listen, how many millionaires do you know? Because I know a lot of them. Fortunately enough, I know a lot of wealthy dudes. And a lot of them are not only on dating apps, a lot of them laugh and they consider Instagram to be the best dating app. But they're on them is my point. The thing is, they don't swipe right on females in her position. That's what it is. And if I say that, all of a sudden, I'm this asshole, then she has to convince herself that I'm an asshole. That way she doesn't have to listen to me or believe me. But the reality is,
well, yeah, she had to convince herself. But I don't think people watching this would be like, look at that and be like, oh, okay, he's the asshole in that situation. Like, as women,
no,
I think
a lot of
women, like, that was a little, a lot, you know.
Right. A lot of women. That's what they want to do. They want to figure out how can they assassinate your character, make you the worst guy in the world. Therefore, everything that you just said doesn't have to be taken into consideration because it makes them uncomfortable. Because it means that they're the problem. And in a lot of cases, it means that they don't have any more potential to course correct. If you're 35, 36 years old and you're the problem as a female, I hate to tell you this, but you don't really have enough time to course correct. Not in relationship to what you want. You have time to course correct in general if you're going to humble yourself and lower your expectations as to what you want. But a lot of these women are in a bad situation and they still want the same high quality guy that a female fresh out of the box wants. So you got a 25-year-old.
Nah, I don't like that.
right. You got a 25-year-old, right? You got a 25-year-old with no children, okay? Never been married, in the height of her beauty, and she wants this particular guy, right? 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", whatever outrageous height that they say is, you know, a must, right? He needs to make 6 figures. Okay, so the guy's making over 100, 125K a year. Okay, that's great. It's in the top, 12% of earners, but
you know how many women fall for dudes that have an air mattress on the floor that live in the hood?
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about what they project they want. I'm not saying what they actually get. I'm talking about when you ask them what they want, this is what they describe. Right, okay. It's not what they actually get, it's what's ideal. Now, you let her spew that shit out, right? And then you ask the chick that's 10 years older than her with 2 children out of wedlock, maybe divorced, maybe not. You ask her and she's gonna give almost an identical description. And now you have to really sit back and ask yourself, let's do some simple 5th grade math. If the guy you just described is less than 10% of the population, and you as a single mom is about 40-45% of the population. And then you as this 25-year-old, you know what I'm saying, with no kids, maybe you're 50% of the population that's in the dating market. What's gonna make him pick either of these women? You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, something's got to stand out. I mean, shit, I'm not saying for somebody with kids, it's impossible for them to find a high quality man, but you got to stand out from the 40% if that's your.
That's my point. And you can't be coming here with this victim narrative. You can't be coming in with the woe is me. It's because of men and men don't want commitment and a man did this to me and it's because my baby daddy left me and blah, 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 blah.
Everybody has baggage. Everybody has shit.
Now, let me let you in on a secret. That all these guys that are top earners have in common. They worked really fucking hard to get there. They made a lot of good decisions. They made a lot of sacrifice. They went without a lot of things. They had to use their better judgment more times. And they had to avoid unlucky and destructive people to get where they are. Now, after achieving that, why on God's green earth would you turn around now and commit to someone that apparently has done the opposite? Someone that's taken the path with least resistance. Somebody that did not make the sacrifice. Somebody that did not use the better judgment.
The only answer is
that did not work hard. Right?
The only answer is love, man. The only answer is love. If somebody were to do that, it would have to be you love that person. And it would have to be beyond me. But
I understand that part, but where does the love come from? Love takes time to develop. So if you're not even going to get past the door with that resume, how is this guy going to fall in love with you? Mm-hmm. So this is something I try to tell a lot of women is like, you guys throw yourselves overboard before the ship even leaves the dock. Because a lot of these women, they cancel themselves out in the bio, right? Now, let me tell you something about the way men operate. You're being disqualified for relationship and commitment. You're not being disqualified for sex. If you look good enough, you can say, write, or text almost anything, and you have not disqualified yourself for sex. So you can put in your bio, hey, listen, I'm an asshole, I'm a narcissist, I'm selfish, okay? I want things I don't deserve. I've had children out of wedlock. I'm untrustworthy. I'm a gold digger. You can put all the worst things that you could put about a woman in your bio, but as long as your pictures are thirst trapping, a guy will say, oh, I'll never make this my girlfriend. I'll never commit to this girl. but let me see if she wants to meet for coffee. Because I
Exactly.
want to fuck.
Going back to using people, the instant gratification.
Right. Now, what women do is they disqualify your ass for sex. But just like the man, they do not disqualify your ass for resources. So a guy could put on his profile, I'm socially awkward, I'm really bad with women, I lost my virginity at 28, and I'm not sure if it even counts. And also, I really lack confidence, but I earned 500K last year. My company's doing great. That woman is gonna say, okay, I'm gonna take this guy off the table for sex, but I'm so gonna let this guy fly me out. I'm definitely gonna let him buy that Birkin bag. Oh,
You know what
sure,
I
you could
thought?
buy those
You know what I
Louis
thought?
Vuittons.
I'll let you in what I thought. I thought I was like, damn, he's kind of a dork. Like, you know, maybe I could teach him. You know, like that's because you know, if you're getting 500K, like you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Maybe I could teach him something. Like,
Oh my god. Yeah, but most women they're not trying to work on a dude. They're trying to they're trying to get the finished product. And don't get me wrong, because I don't recommend anybody try to fix anyone. But most women are not trying to build with the dude though. They're not trying to create the empire with the dude. They just want to sit on the other side of the throne. It's like, listen, once you already got the throne, then I'll come and sit down and be your queen. But they don't want to conquer shit and build it with you.
Personally, no. Personally, my ideal love story, my fairy tale romance is getting like, you know, two people coming up together and growing together. Because you know why? At that point, when you have so many people reaching out to you and wanting that lifestyle, you know that that one person that was down with you is real.
Yeah, of course.
And like that, I feel like, I mean, anybody logically wants that, right? I mean, I can't be the only person.
No, a lot of women don't understand that concept. I tried to explain that shit to my ex and she wasn't getting it. I was like, all right, you know, a lot of women don't get it. It's like, look, and this is what I tried to explain to her. I said, look, you see how you're giving me a hard time now? You wouldn't be giving me a fucking hard time if I was making 250K a year. You wouldn't be giving me such a hard time, right? You see how I'm trying to work on these things? I'm trying to build these things, and you're like distracting me more than you're aiding me. You're coming to me to distract me and complain about something. You're not coming to me to say, baby, how can I help? What can I do? I see that you're working. Can I do something for you? Is there anything I can do? You're not coming with that type of energy. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't need you to behave that way after I made it. It doesn't matter then. Because after I made it, I can literally get rid of you and replace you before I get rid of you. Like literally, like I can replace you before I even get you the fuck up out of here. I can already replace you. I can have the next girl come help you move your shit the fuck out, right? So no man needs you after he's already arrived, okay? But if you are there for the ride and you're constantly helping, you're constantly getting him there, men are supposed to, at least real men, are supposed to have a fabric of loyalty. Yeah. And they won't have to ask themselves, is this chick really down for me? They won't have to ask themselves because she's already proved that, right? They won't have to say, will she be with me if I'm struggling? They won't have to say that because she was with me when I was shooting in the gym. A lot of women don't realize that's how you get commitment. A lot of these women think that a guy is supposed to make something out of himself, make a winner out of himself, and then he's supposed to just hand it over.
Yeah.
Why? Why is he supposed to hand it over to you? He can hand it over to any woman at that point. That's what I'm trying to say. Like any good-looking woman is a candidate now.
Yeah, we have to think about what we're providing to the person. Like I know when I really like someone, I get into the mindset of like, you know, what do I bring to their life? Like, you know, I think about like try to put myself in their shoes. Like, all right, what are they experiencing? Like my love language is gifts and shit. I'm like, okay, what do they say they don't have or whatever? What do they say like they need in conversation type shit? Like it really is about like what can I provide to the person? Just make them, I don't know.
A lot of times they don't know. A lot of times they don't know because a lot of guys don't know. I've had guys ask me, hey, Allende, what makes a good girlfriend? What should I be looking for? What should I be asking for? I said, bro, you got to dig within yourself to figure that out. You can't ask another man what would make a good girlfriend for you. I mean, you could ask for some pointers, some tips, some things to be aware of, but overall, you would have to kind of know. And also, you have to come in there with some type of leadership, right? You have to put her to work. You have to say, baby, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. This is the plan. You know what I'm saying? And I need you to do your part. We're going to take over the world. So if a woman is coming to you with that type of, she's inquisitive like that, like, what can I do for you? What can I do to make your life easier? What can I do to help you reach your goal faster? What can I do to help inspire you? How can I motivate you? How can I encourage you? How can I, give you that motivation when maybe you lost, maybe you failed, maybe you had a hard time, maybe you didn't make that deal, right? But the woman telling you, listen, don't worry about it. You're going to get the next one. These motherfuckers don't know what they lost. I believe in you. You're the best. You can do this, baby. That has this type of priceless value. But a lot of guys aren't even looking for that because it never occurred to them, because they've never gotten it and they've never seen it. They didn't see their father get it. They didn't see their uncle get it. They didn't see their older brother get it. So they don't even realize that that's a thing. So they also don't realize how powerful it is when you're starting to lose confidence in yourself, and then you got your woman telling you, you can do this. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. If this is the way she sees me, then I have to be consistent with that, right? If she sees me as a winner, I need to act accordingly. But if that woman wasn't there, now it's all on him to self-motivate, to self-encourage. You see what I'm trying to say? Which is a little bit more difficult. And maybe we're lucky enough, right? Maybe we're lucky enough to have a coach. Maybe we're lucky enough to have a mentor. Maybe we're lucky enough to have a good friend that's gonna come and remind you, hey, listen, bro, you're better than this. You know what I'm saying? I've seen you, you know what I'm saying, accomplish much harder shit. I believe in you. Like, just recently I had to have a talk with my mentor, and he was like, bro, I don't even like the way you're talking. You know what I'm saying? He's like, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, you got this. But not everybody has that person to talk to them like that. You see what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah.
it can't be a stranger. It has to be somebody that knows you, because if it's someone that you don't know, then they're just saying anything. You're just saying some old positive bullshit. You don't know that. But when it's someone that knows you telling you that, they're basically reminding you who you are and how much potential you have and how they see you. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, man. And it should go both ways. Like, it should go both ways. And that's when I feel like that's the key right there. You know what I mean? Imagine a woman building up a man, you know, and then like whatever resources a man has, he's helping the woman build herself up, and like they just eventually, you know, help each other to success. Like that's really, you know, a beautiful story in my book.
But how does that happen if the women aren't inspirational like that? Because part of femininity is supposed to be nurturing. I don't feel like a lot of women today are nurturing in relationships with men. And I would question a lot of their maternal nurturing, but that's a whole other can of worms. I just get nothing but pushback. Women would tell me I'm like the worst person in the world for saying this, although I'm 40 and I've seen the generations change, and the way women dealt with their children 20, 30 years ago was a hell of a lot different and better than it is today. But that's a whole nother argument. But in my opinion, this is my opinion now, I'm putting my name on it, women are not as nurturing as they were to anyone. And we can see that with how much old people are ending up in nursing homes and shit like that. Am I making that up? No, there's a lot of old people going to nursing homes.
I mean, everybody has, like, you know, both gender kids, you know, so it really isn't just one.
Yeah, I understand that. But the guys, more provided. Right? When my grandfather was getting to that age, I was not going to change the catheters. I was not going to change diapers, but I sure as fuck worked extra hours to pay for a live-in nurse. As a man, that's how I took care of my elderly, right? By earning more money and financing it, because I would refuse to send him to some fucking home. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would never send any of my grandparents to no, or my mother, when the time comes, to no home. Right? But if I was a daughter, it would have been actually giving the medication and checking the blood pressure and changing the diaper and removing the catheter and all that other shit. That's what it would have been if I was a female grandchild. So we can't move away from the gender roles. They're there for a reason. And it's what we're more comfortable with. Do fathers really want to be changing diapers? Or is that some feminism bullshit trying to say that men and women are supposed to play the same role as parents? That's ridiculous. Would I be changing diapers? Yes. Once in a while, when my woman is occupied with something else or she's not around, of course, I'm going to change the diaper. The same way that a woman pumping her own gas is simply because her man's not around. If she has a man and they're together, why would she be pumping her gas? Why would she be changing her own oil? Why would she be carrying her own groceries? Why would she be doing any of that shit if a man is present, right? So I feel like it goes both ways. But the fact that these things are like topics of contention and argument, that right there lets you know that we're not on the same page. And that's the problem. The men and the women aren't on the same page, right?
So women want equality. They don't want to be like, I mean, it's unfair. Like, you know, from a woman's perspective, the amount of shit that we have to go through sometimes, it feels like, you know, so it feels, you know, it feels like, you know, you don't want to be tied down to be like, all right, you know, just because I was born, you know, as a woman, now I have to, you know, have a whole different set of expectations than the men around me. Because you see men, you know, having a career and shit, you're just like, no, I don't want, well, not that having a career is a man thing, but like, more so like you see men the freedom of like, you know, not having to change the diapers and shit. Like, what if I don't want to change fucking diapers? You know what I mean?
Hold on. Who said that was freedom? Because the man isn't changing the diapers, but he has the expectation to pay for the diapers. So here's the thing, because we get caught up in this equality word has been weaponized. It's been used to create division, right? So if you believe in there being different races,
I don't.
That's a different argument. But if you believe in people being of different races, when they're really, it's not that simple. But let's say you believed in that. The argument wouldn't be that the races aren't equal. The argument would be that they're not the same. So they can be equal while being different. So the male role and the male contribution can be equal to the female role and contribution, but they are not the same. And this is where we get caught up with this equality bullshit. Because in order for that equality thing to hold the argument that it does, you would first have to believe that one person's contribution is more valuable than the other. So where did we get the idea that what a man provides is more valuable than what a woman provides? Once you believe that,
because of everything the world runs on. Because if you don't have a house, like, you know what I mean? If you don't have anything, like, if a woman is working from home and a man, you know, she doesn't have a man to provide, like, you know what I mean? They have a kid or whatever. And this world is not equal. You know what I mean? Like, in this world is not equal. Like, that a house is going to be more valuable than like the care of the kid at the end of the day. Like,
hold on though, because that's up to interpretation. Because you can say, well, men built the world, therefore men contribute more to the world than women, because women haven't invented or built anything. So it's all because of men. Okay, well, how did men get there? They were born, right? Who gave birth to them? Women. What was most of these men's inspiration in working so hard to provide for beautiful women and children? So how could you say that the builders are more important than the inspiration for building in the first place? And then the person that gave you birth so that you could exist to build. So for every job that a man does, it still took the job of giving birth in order for that man to exist to do said job. And when you remove women from the equation, a lot of men don't even have the motivation to be productive in the first place. So they're the driving force and the inspiration for a lot of what men have accomplished. So in my mind, that would make them of equal value, because you couldn't have one without the other.
Yes.
Right? So we've convinced women that their role is less valuable than men. And in order to be equal to men, they have to therefore start taking on the roles of men. That's the mind fuckery that the modern feminist has fell for. Because you're being told and sold that childbirth somehow is not the most magnificent thing on the planet. That somehow giving birth to children is not that important. It's not that amazing.
It's not that important. Let me be that perspective for women out there that believe the same. I'm not interested in having kids now, or like, you know, maybe in a while, or a long, long time, or maybe ever. You know what I mean? I feel like the freedom of experiencing my life is more important than bringing a whole new life into this planet. Why be focused on a whole nother life when I have a whole life to live ahead of me? You know what I mean? And shit to experience and stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel value. Like, personally, I don't want to push a melon out. Like, I feel like that would rip me up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking at childbirth like, oh, this is like the most wonderful thing, even though I am a woman, but I'm still very nurturing and I have like very feminine like aspects of myself. But like that aspect, you know, I understand a lot of women that like might not want to pursue, like, I just want to stay at home, like take care of the kids and like cook and clean and shit. Like it really is all about give and take. And there's a person out there for everybody. Like there's no gender norms or whatever. There's a man out there that's going to be a stay-at-home dad and be so happy that he can spend all the time with his kids. And, you know, he feels super masculine being able to provide in that way. And there's going to be a woman that feels feminine being able to go to work and be creative and, you know, provide for the man in that way. And it'll just work. You know what I mean? And
I'm not arguing with you at all. What I'm trying to say is that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But there's a lot of women who are rushing into education and into the career because they bought this idea that that's the only way for them to be valuable or for them to accomplish anything that's worth a shit. Whereas for one woman, experiencing life how you put it might be being a mother, being a godmother, you know, having children, raising children, and putting all her work and all her effort into that. If you don't have children and you focus on a business, your business is like your baby. Right? But if your business is the business of making family, that's where your joy, your satisfaction is. My point is that that's not any less valuable than the woman that wanted to go be a doctor. That's what I'm trying to say. Either way, it's an accomplishment and it's what she is proud of and what brings her this satisfaction. So now, where we can argue that is when you compare how many women that didn't have children regret not having children to how many women did have children and regret having children, that's when this argument gets a little tricky, because overwhelmingly mothers do not regret becoming mothers. Even the ones who hate their baby father, even the ones who can't stand the man that they had the children with, you are going to have a hard time finding any significant percentage of mothers that honestly regret having had children. They might regret who they had them with, or maybe even at what age they chose to have them. But it's very hard to find women who regret having children. And when you do find them, they're usually, their whole life is fucked up. They're drug addicts, or there's a whole bunch of other bullshit going on as to why she might say that. Now, when you look at the women that chose career and they were saying, hey, I don't want to have children, children aren't for me, there's a far higher percentage of those women who will tell you at 42, 45, 50, you know what my biggest regret in life is? I didn't have a family. And notice I said biggest regret, because they don't say shit like, you know what I really regret? Not closing that deal in 2010. You know what I really regret? Not being able to get our companies to merger 5 years ago. They don't say shit like that. They say they regret never having a family. So I'm not gonna argue with any woman in the present. I've learned that that's a waste of time trying to argue with a woman that says she doesn't want to have kids. When they're like 25 and they're talking like that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to waste my breath. But if I run into your punk ass in 10 years, 15 years, we'll revisit this conversation. Okay? Because I've personally known women that were talking like that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now they're singing a different song. Right? And I'm just making the beat like.
That's what everybody tells me. That's what everybody tells me. No, I'm going to change my mind or whatever. So I guess I'm waiting for that.
You will. You definitely will. And the thing about the career is depending on the career, the timing isn't necessarily as essential as having children, right? So feminism tells women that they can have it all while telling other women that they're fools for being stay-at-home moms. So the message starts getting really confusing. And then you have feminists saying that they don't need no man, they don't want commitment, they can have sex just like a man. And then those same women at some point in time are complaining about men not wanting to commit to them and marry them. It's just, the shit's all over the fucking place. So what I like to focus on is the results, the outcome. And women who were feminists, they always end up miserable by the time they're 40, if not earlier. So I'm not gonna argue with their logic or their ideology. I'm just gonna focus on the results. They don't end up happy in the long run. And telling women they can have everything, it sounds impossible. I personally believe that it is possible. It's very difficult, but it's possible, right? And they can't have everything without a man. You see how you were talking about in your bio, and when you deal with guys, you kind of like just put it up front, let them know exactly what it is that you need and what you want, like from the gate.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the only way that a woman can have it all. She has to respect, she has to take time into consideration, and she has to also find someone to do it with and be 100% upfront with him from the beginning and get him to sign on to that goal.
Yeah.
So it would read like this: female goes to college or whatever, meets fiance in college or in college age. He doesn't have to go to the same school, but you meet the guy in your very early 20s and you say to him, I want to have a family and a husband, and I also want to be a career woman and be a breadwinner and all this other shit. And then together they say, okay, I can fuck with you on that. I can support you on that. But we have to create a timeline that makes sense. And you going to graduate school, then you entering into the workforce, then you working your way up the ladder competitively against your colleagues to reach a level of success, and then saying, hey babe, I finally made it. Let's make babies now. There's two reasons why that's not going to work for either of you. Number one, it's not going to work for the guy because you expect him to put his life on hold and wait for you to build your shit, right? So by the time you're ready to do that, you're an older female now. So that's not good for the guy. It's not good for the baby. And then it's not going to be good for the female because now that you just acquired all this success and things are taking off, you're not going to want to pause and go get pregnant now and then give birth and then take maternity leave and then raise your children to about 3, 4, 5 years old and then re-enter into the workforce. That's going to be completely different in 5 or 6 years. The technology would have changed. Everything about the company would change. You'd be a fish out of water. So the correct way to do it is to get the guy to agree to it in your early 20s, push the babies out immediately, get married by 25, push the fucking babies out by 25, 26. 5 years later, now you can take your ass back to work and go do what you want to do. And he can step in now and start spending more time with the kids to allow you to go and build your career. That can work, but that's not what women are doing. Women are doing.
That's not everybody's cup of tea. Like some people don't want to have kids and then focus on a career. Like that's a lot.
There's a difference between preference and probable. So women can sit there and say, oh, but that's not for me. I don't really feel like doing it like that. Okay, well then you're not going to have it all. That's my point. Now you have to choose one or the other. So if you don't do it in that order, you're going to have to choose one or the other. So now you're going to have to either choose to get married and have a family or choose to go be a career woman. You see what I'm trying to say? You can't do both well at the same time.
A lot of people, they meet after their careers are settled, and you know, there's people who meet in their 30s. There's people.
I understand that, but you do realize you're talking about on the off chance. And I know women don't want to they don't want to respect the numbers, right? They don't want to respect.
Maybe I'm not aware of the numbers. Maybe I just don't have enough perspective on the numbers of what's really going on here.
No, because when people try to tell it to them, they get triggered and they get angry and they get volatile. Okay, have you ever heard of Andrew Tate?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that he said that pissed women off the most. Granted, he said a lot of things that have pissed women off, right? But one thing that recently he said that pissed a lot of women off was when he was saying that he is more interested in an 18 or 19-year-old than a 25 or 26-year-old. And when they asked him why, he said, because in that span of time, the amount of guys that she would have been with, the amount of drama in her life, the amount of heartache, the amount of breakups, the amount of negativity, trauma, animosity, all that type of shit, he said, I don't want to deal with that shit.
But everybody
got upset. Everybody got upset. Everybody got triggered and all this other type of shit. It's like, what? time out. Why are we getting mad at guys for shedding light on the situation? Like,
That's an
can
opinion.
we say don't kill the messenger? What he said was nothing about what he said was untrue. But everybody got upset when really what he was doing was giving you that truth bomb so that you could put it into perspective and then make your decision. Are you going to say, hey, listen, I don't care what guys want. I don't care what the guys that I want? Is that what you're going to say?
No,
or are you
I'm
going to
saying
make some
we're neglecting
adjustments?
the positive of going through heartbreak and going through the drama and growing up. Because if you're dating an 18-year-old, you're dating somebody who's emotionally immature, and they're going to depend on you on a level where it might make you feel secure.
Who said they were dating 18-year-olds? Who said they were dating 18-year-olds? No. He's talking about him as a guy dating younger girls. That doesn't mean the girls are dating guys of their age. And listen, I know that sounds good to you, right? It sounds like there's growth. It sounds like the woman learned something. She somehow is stronger now, more mature, more experienced. Unfortunately, that's not how it plays out in a relationship. What happens is she's bringing negative experiences. She's bringing trauma. Okay?
If she's not developed, man, because there's some of the shit you can't be too naive about, and it takes growing to be able to come as a fully grown woman. But you can't be saying no like as I'm speaking, because then you're not really taking in like anything.
No. Trust me. I've listened to it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for women the way it works for men. Many women think this. I don't know why they think that. But pain, heartbreak, trauma, it does not benefit women the way it would benefit a man. It would make a man stronger. It would make a man more resilient, more capable, right? More self-reliant. That's what it does for men. When men have it easy, hold on. When men have it easy, what happens is you don't get a strong man out of that equation. When a boy has it easy, and then he's a young man, he has it easy, what happens is you do not build character. Don't build a strong, resourceful, reliable guy. Now, when women go through these negative experiences, what happens is you get a damaged woman.
No, you don't. In this society, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been through a lot of shit in my life.
Most of our women are damaged. Just because we're moving the goalposts based on the majority, based on what's normal, doesn't mean it's right. What most women have been through by the age of 25 today is horrific considered to what women would have gone through by the age of 25, 50 years ago.
Yes, but you're saying that women are
just their body count alone is alarming when you compare it to 50 years ago.
But for men as well. And
I understand. Hold on. Let's talk about that. But again, body count affects men differently than women. Body count improves a man's interaction with other women. Body count deteriorates a woman's bond with a man.
That's where
that's just the way we're designed.
No, it's not.
You could disagree, but there is a thing called pair bonding. And what happens is when women come into relationships and they've had bad experiences with men in the past, what happens is there's certain things they were willing to do for those men in the past, they're not willing to do anymore.
That's not true.
Unfortunately, now this new guy might actually deserve it, but they won't give it to him because they gave it to other guys and it was traumatizing, right? So
for some women,
the purity level is dissipated. Right? So men value purity from women. Having a lot of body count, having a lot of negative experiences, it eats away at that purity till it's not there anymore.
No, because I've had bad experiences and I'm pure as fuck. You know what I mean? I'm a pure person.
So by definition, women become less valuable to men as they get more experience with other men, whereas it's the opposite for women. The more experience men have, generally speaking, is the more attracted they're going to be to the female. Is the more that they can offer her because they have more experience. They know how to handle this better because they've done it several times. Whereas women will have a hard time with a guy who doesn't have a lot of experience with girls. He doesn't have experience with women. It's going to be a rough time, which is why women will tell you they don't want to sleep with a virgin, but men would love to sleep with a virgin. So we have to just accept that we are different. I don't know why that's so complicated for this new generation. It's so hard to just get them to accept, hey, boys and girls are different. I don't know why that's so hard. When I was growing up in the 80s, all the little kids understood that. There was a famous scene from Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie, The Kindergarten Cop. And the little boy said, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. That little soundbite was popular, but everybody accepted that boys and girls are completely different, period. Boys were told, you do not hit girls. And they had to accept that. So what they're accepting is that boys and girls are different. There's a different set of rules. If a boy hits you, you hit him back. If a girl hits you, you're shit out of luck.
Mm-hmm. If you feel sad, as a man, you don't cry about it. If you feel sad as a woman, you cry about it.
Exactly. It is different. When men cry, people get the fuck away from them. They've done studies all over to prove this. If you see a man crying in public, people get away from him. They're like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
But that's unfortunate.
If a woman cries in public, everybody huddles around. Are you okay? Can I do something? Do you need help? You need to use my phone? What can I get you? Can I buy you a sandwich? You need a ride home? And she's a stranger. The rules are different. Can we move on? I don't know why our society is stuck on arguing over men and women being the same. We're not the same. Stop. Fuck feminism. Fuck what feminism is talking about. Nothing about men and women is the same. In fact, majority of things, when you compare it, we're actually polar opposites.
We're not the same, but we should have the same opportunities. Because
listen,
there's somebody out there.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. That's fine.
We need to appreciate the differences. Like yin and yang. Like it's like yin and yang. Men and women fundamentally work well together because they're different.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're on the same page.
But you see how you said that? That's true. Right? That's true. When Andrew Tate said that, nobody cared.
No, Andrew Tate is just being a dumbass because at the end of the day, and whatever, take it how you want, but don't interrupt me because I'm not going to be on here if you're going to keep interrupting me. Okay?
I can't let you call my boy a dumbass. That's what I'm saying. He's not a dumbass.
Okay. But yeah, as far as like Andrew Tate, at the end of the day, he's an individual with an opinion. You know what I mean? No disrespect. But
right, but he didn't lie is my point though.
If a woman goes through traumatic experiences, there are some women where, yes, you're going to use that and you're going to harbor resentment and you're going to take it out on somebody who does not deserve it. And that's called an unhealed person. Okay. But most people, when they go through an experience, it's called character development. And they actually realize, okay, there's some people who are going to use me in this way and I need to become stronger. I need to start setting boundaries. I need to start telling people exactly how the fuck I feel when shit like this happens so that, it doesn't happen again. I need to remove myself from people that have these red flags. I need to open my eyes and learn from the past shit that happened and really learn from it and grow from it and get away from shit that, doesn't benefit you. So there's a lot of experiences that you can have that make you stronger as a person. So when you say it's different for a man, when they go through experiences and they have, whatever, and it's different for a woman, it makes her weak and it makes her that's just fundamentally fucking sexist.
No, it's not. Hold on. It's not. It's not.
Taking the power away from women. Women.
It's not. What power? What power? What power? There's no power there. So look.
Every person has power.
Hold on.
Every single individual has power.
Let's go back to when you said most, because that's disingenuous. Most women, that is not the reaction they have to those circumstances. You said most. Some, I'll agree with you. Yes, there are some. Most, no. No, absolutely not.
But
absolutely not. The mistakes that women hold on. The mistakes that women make, right? The mistakes that women make, and I'm not saying that this is fair or whatever like that. There's so many things that are unfair for women, and then there's so many things that are unfair for men. It's just the way the double standard works. Now, majority of these type of mistakes that we're talking about, they affect women much more traumatically and permanently than men is what I'm trying to say. That's
because of the nature of how men and women deal with emotions, and that's how
that could be it too. But also a lot of it is also where their value comes from, their self-value as well as the way that others value them.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey, that's just what it is. Okay, But to say that like women are gonna learn from these experiences and they're gonna like become stronger and become better, I'm sorry, bro. That's not only is that not what happens, but if you want to describe what happens as that, if you want to call it stronger, that chick that just jumped off, who's quote unquote stronger, but she couldn't handle a conversation where she was being challenged, but she's strong. But she's strong and independent and don't need no man, but she can't handle a conversation with a clash of ideas. Whatever experiences that she had, that strength that it gave her, that stronger that it made her, it doesn't help her with men. It doesn't help her in relationships. It doesn't help her moving forward. So how did it better her? It didn't better her. Now, when you look at
by a different point of view, you're giving away your power to something, and that really isn't strength.
Now, hold on. Now, let's talk about the women who didn't have these traumatic experiences. Let's talk about the women that married their high school sweetheart and their whole family knew him and approved of him. And he loved her and took care of her and protected her and provided for her. And they have this family together and blah, blah, blah. And 10, 15 years later, for whatever reason, they grow apart and they get divorced. Okay, now this woman is 38 years old, but somehow she's far less damaged than a woman that's 24 and just been sleeping around, having all these casual relationships, partying and clubbing, having all these hookups, right? All these one-night stands. How is it that the chick that was kept off the market for all that time, who didn't have any of these traumatizing experiences with men, no men let her down or anything, because the first guy that she grew apart, right? Because the first guy that she was with stayed with her, and they did all the magical, beautiful things that men and women do together. And then later, for whatever reason, they broke up. But that breakup being her first like failure with a man, failure with a relationship. So now she's almost 40. She's back single again, but she's not mad. She's not resentful. She's not hurt. She wasn't sexually molested or assaulted. There was nobody that slipped something in her drug that one night. There wasn't that time when she had a train ran on her by the football team in college. There wasn't none of those things. There wasn't the 3 abortions that she had. There wasn't none of those psychologically damaging events in her life. She's just a chick that got engaged, got married, had kids, later got divorced. That's it. So you cannot tell me that the chick that went through all of that is somehow stronger. She might have more of a defense mechanism. She might have more of a wall up. Women consider that strong. That's not strong.
It depends on how you deal with it. Somebody can go through, 2 people can go through the same thing, and so the one person's going to use it as an excuse, and the other person's going to use it as motivation. So it's like, I mean, personally, like learning lessons in life, there's no gender to it. People learn from lessons in life, and it just
that part I can't agree. Gender is in everything. Unfortunately,
well,
it's not because I want. It's not because I want to see gender. It's just that we can't ignore that the genders experience things differently. The genders are affected by things differently. That's just how it the fuck is. And I remember when I was 14, my mom was trying to explain something to me because it was my first time getting in trouble with the police, and she was trying to explain to me like, listen. Not only are you a man, but you're a black man. So just know that if you fuck up your record and you can't get a good job, a good career, and be a high earner and a provider, your life is gonna be suffrage and nobody's gonna fucking help you. Had you been a female, as long as you're good looking, you will always be able to find somebody that's gonna take care of you and provide for you. But you're not. And when she was telling me that, I was just like, whatever, can I go outside and do what I'm doing now? Is lecture time over? But when I got older, I started to witness what she was saying, because I would look at my friends that made bad mistakes and how I would fuck their life up and limit them. And then I would look at the females that made bad mistakes, but yet 4 years after high school, they got some fucking lame taking care of them, paying all the bills that they would have never went out with in high school. The same guy that they would reject in high school while they're hooking up with the fucking quarterback, they're hooking up with the dope boy, right? They're hooking up with all the cool kids, right? All the alpha males. But then 5, 6 years after high school, after they have a child out of wedlock, who's the guy that comes and takes care of them? The same Joe Schmo that she never gave a chance in high school. And that's when I started understanding what my mom was saying. Because a guy can make all the right decisions. For some reason, the company that he works for gets bought out or goes out of business. Now he gets laid off. And he went and did what everybody told him to do. He got good grades. He went and worked for that company. He was at work on time every day. He did everything he was supposed to do, but now he's out of a job and nobody gives a shit. He asks to come home and stay with his parents. They don't even want to let him come home. And when they agree, they say, but you got to pay. You have to pay this amount every month. Now we could take the female version, his female counterpart. She can go out there and date every guy that her parents told her not to deal with. She can go out there and get a teen pregnancy, have a couple of abortions, then finally keep one. She could be out of work, no education, no job skills, can't get a fucking job worth a damn, ringing shit up at Walmart, about to be replaced by a self-checkout register. And then when she needs to go home and live with her parents, what do they say? Come on home, baby. Your room is just the way you left it. And we'll watch the kids.
I don't have any personal experience with that. By the way,
we'll watch the kids while you go out and party.
Do you have any ads or anything you can run? Because I need to take a quick little break.
No. Go ahead, do your thing. I'm about to close this out. There was like 3 girls that couldn't make it for various things. It was just a bad luck with that. Plus, everybody needs to dress up and do Halloween. So I don't celebrate pagan holidays. So good luck with that. But anyhow, thank you for coming. The conversation, we're just trying to figure this shit out. But I like where you're going. Do you want to give out your Instagram or some shit like that?
Yeah, it's Patri Linda, so it's PATR.LINDAA. And yeah, I'm gonna be posting some good shit on there pretty soon. Yeah, it was good to be here, man. It was good to talk about this shit because I feel like there's a disconnect between men and women, and it's good to just get real with each other and just try to figure it out. And if you ever are doing this again, I'm more than open to coming on, but maybe more one-on-one or maybe other women.
No. There'll be other women, and you're in Pompano, so you're like 45 minutes away. So eventually we'll get back to doing stuff live in person, and I'm gonna eventually bring on a co-host that's much nicer than me, or more likable, I should say, a lot more likable than me. It'll be good to balance it out. But you just know that you have a unique point of view, and a lot of men wish that more women were a little bit more practical in that sense. Because the idea is not for you to see it the way that men see it. That's like, I would never have that expectation because I don't want women to expect men to see things the way that women see things. It's not about that. It's about somehow coming to some type of understanding in the middle to where we can both observe reality somewhat agreeing on certain things. We're always going to interpret it a little different, but there still has to be some commonality. And right now, the sides are telling 2 completely different stories. And, like this chick kept saying men in general. And I kept thinking that's one of the things that women keep doing. You keep mistaking the men that you dated or men that you chose for men in general, forgetting that 80% of guys, you never even gave them a chance. 80% of guys, you never even matched with them to even hear what they were talking about. Most guys don't even have the balls to expect sex on the first night. She said that guys were like pushy and acting like determined or whatever. And I'm just thinking to myself, you keep using the word guys overgeneralizing when I know for a fact most guys do not even have the confidence to be aggressive about trying to have sex with a girl on the first night because they're used to not having sex with the girl at all. So what the fuck would make them think it's gonna happen on the first night? The guys that act that way are guys that are used to hooking up with girls quickly. So it's up to them how they choose to behave. And that's just, the last thing that I will say before I go, because the takeaway that I want any women that are watching this to understand is that at the end of the day, it's up to the man. I know women don't want to hear that, but it is. Because the guy that you would like.
And I'm not going to sit here and, agree and co-sign to that. I feel like I, as a woman, in my experience, in anybody's experience, we are meant to be fully living in our power, and we don't give that power away to nobody. At the end of the day, these are my standards, these are your standards. If it doesn't line up like a business deal, it's not going to happen. We just have different goals. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, people should have the same, kind of respect for each other's, requirements of shit. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like men in this society are full lead, but, ideally, I guess it's like we're.
No, you're taking what I was saying out of context because you didn't let me finish. The reason why I'm saying that it's up to the man at the end of the day is because when you have decided, hey, I like this guy, like this guy, because we're not talking about all the other guys you're not interested in. Women don't even acknowledge the men that they're not interested in. That's why those men don't factor in to their numbers, their statistics. That's why they keep saying all men are trash, all men cheat, all men this and that. It's like, yeah, well, we're only talking about the men that have that ability in the first place. Now, with that being said, that means that the guys who have that level of influence, it's up to them what they choose to do with it. So when you have a girl that likes a guy and she's willing to hook up with him on the first night or within the first 3 dates or whatever, it's on him how he's gonna play that. Are you gonna just use her for sex and then you're not gonna call her anymore? You're gonna start acting different, your energy changed? Or are you gonna say, listen, I really like you, we had a really good time, we had a lot of chemistry, and I can see that's why you felt comfortable and so attracted to hook up with me in such a short period of time, but I also like you and feel the same way about you. Let's keep this going and progress this. Now, that woman now is not gonna have a bad experience with hooking up with a guy too early or having a one-night stand or whatever. She's not gonna have a bad experience because of how he chose to handle the situation moving forward. Now, if he fucks her and then he doesn't call her anymore, now she has a bad experience, now she's upset, now she's resentful. That's what I meant by it's up to the men at the end of the day. When you complain about women on OnlyFans, women can only exist on OnlyFans because men are subscribing. If the men said, listen, I don't like that, I'm not respecting that, I'm not attracted to it, and I'm not supporting that, I'm not financing that. Subscribe to what? Fuck you. I'm not paying for that. That's disgusting. That's debauchery. I'm not encouraging that. The industry would collapse overnight. OnlyFans can only exist if men keep on spending their money. So again, it's up to the man. Thoughts getting flown out, guys paying for their boob jobs and all this other kind of stuff. If the guy said, I'm only spending that kind of money on a woman that's committed to me, that's only mine, right? What would happen? In order for women to get a Birkin bag, you'd have to be some guy's wife. You'd have to be some guy's fiance. Okay? In order for a woman to get a pair of Louis Vuittons, she'd have to actually be a good woman because that's the requirement of the guy that's going to swipe his credit card for those Louis Vuittons. So that's what I mean by at the end of the day, it's up to men because women could not be out here doing anything good or bad without the assistance and enabling of men. That's just a fact. They can't go out here and start families and be great mothers and great wives without the cooperation of good men. And they can't go out here and be sluts and thoughts and prostitutes without the cooperation of degenerate men. So either way, they need the cooperation of men to do whatever it is that they want to do, good or bad. And that ultimately is my point, guys. It's up to the quality men that have a shot. You can only cheat on a girl if you first have a girl. So when women say all men cheat, to me it doesn't make sense because most men can't get a girl. So how can you cheat on a girl if you can't even get the first girl to cheat on? But if the guy that got the girl decided that he wasn't going to cheat, I guess they wouldn't be cheating going on now, would they?
But let me just leave you with this, and I do have to take a break, so I'm gonna go after this. But if it's up to the men, why did we start this podcast for men? As far as what their dating experiences are, difficulty. Women have the power, pussy power, at the end of the day. And like at the end of the day, listen. For the women I've had experience with, and myself as a woman, I have the same power as a man in a relationship to withhold pussy as he does to commit to me.
Right, I understand that, but then you wouldn't get that particular man. Though. If he didn't agree to those terms, you wouldn't get that particular man.
Not necessarily. I feel like men love to chase. I feel like men love a woman they can't have.
Right, but once he actually gets it, it's still on him how he's going to behave. Is my point though.
But
and the reason why
how he got it is also the point. The nature of how he got it is what gets the relationship or whatever, kind of going. Because, like I said earlier, if it's easy, it's not going to be worth it, and if it's worth it, it's not going to be easy. And with
there's guys that try a long time to get a girl in bed, and they finally get her in the bed, and then they start changing their colors again. So making them wait longer making him wait longer doesn't necessarily change the way he's going to act after. So we do got to keep that in mind. And just to answer your question, the reason why I had that discussion, if I think that it's ultimately up to men, is because I'm trying to have a better understanding of what the requirements are so that more men can become that dude. And when they do become that dude, it's up to them what decision they want to make. So I'm not going to tell guys what to do with women once they have the influence over the women, but I'm at least going to try to help guys develop the skills and the qualities required to have that influence in the first place. Just like you said, women have pussy power. What you have to understand is pussy power is only as powerful as what the men that want the pussy are willing to do. You could say, oh, this person has a lot of influence. Okay, but the point is, it's up to his followers or his subscribers or whatever, what they're willing to do for his influence. That's the thing. A woman can say, listen, you want this pussy? You got to go to college and get a degree. You want this pussy? You need to go over here and do this. You need to go do that. You got to do that. If every woman said that, then men would go run out there and start doing those things.
Yeah.
But if only an individual woman says that, you know what the guy's going to say? All right, she's a prude. I'm going to go over here to this girl and I'm going to hook up with her. And it's the same thing on the other end, because if all these guys are accepting bad behavior from women, then as soon as you try to make a stand and say, hey, listen, I don't like that, don't act that way, it's not appropriate, she's gonna say, fuck you, asshole, and she's gonna go to another guy that does accept and tolerate that. So whatever we do as men or women, we have to agree on it unanimously, and we gotta hold a standard together. Because you can't be mad that guys want to Netflix and chill when you got 5 closest friends and the other 4 hook up with guys on the first date.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered. All right, I'm gonna let you go.
That was good.
We'll do something else. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Let's keep it authentic. Peace.
Peace.